So to tell the story of Jahseh Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, Triple Extentacion, I have to go back a little bit. I started telling the story on my YouTube platform, but you have to go back before he became the artist known as. So it's 1990, and we're living in Jamaica. It's my mom, my brother, myself, and my sister Deandra. So at the time, Deandra was 3 going on 4 years old. Because she was born in '86 and it's 1990, and at the October of that year, she would have been 4. Now, my brother attends a comprehensive high school called Arden Extension. He got kicked out of Arden for basically just not doing anything, going to school, dressing up every day. And he got transferred to a school called Tivoli Comprehensive High School. While he was attending Arden, he became involved with one of the most notorious dons in Jamaica. He started dating the man's daughter. And while dating the man's daughter, he became involved with all sorts of activities. You know what I mean? It had a huge influence on his life. At the time, I was attending Dint Hill Technical High School. I was in my 2nd year of high school. So Dint Hill Technical is a technical high school that teaches you technical skills. So it emphasizes on whatever skill you would practice in the future. And so my 2nd year at Dint Hill Technical, my brother was about to complete Tivoli Gardens Comprehensive High School because he got transferred from Arden. But he still maintained a relationship with the Don's daughter at the time. So he got involved in guns and, you know, all sorts of illicit activities. He wasn't selling drugs, but, you know, he glorified the gangster lifestyle. You know, he was finding himself. He was figuring out who he was. So one of the local thugs at the time in my neighborhood had a gun, and my brother called himself, you know, holding the gun for the area don or whoever it was, you know. So he goes to a party one night, and in the 90s, people would fire shots in the air when it's called saluting, right? So your favorite music comes on the scene or comes on the sound system, you know, to salute, to tell the selector that it's a popular song, or to pull it up or whatever. A lot of dudes would, you know, people would make noise, and if you had guns, fire 2 shots in the air for your favorite song. It so happened that this one particular night, he had the gun and he did just that. And some undercover cops was undercover police was in the crowd. So he fired 2 shots in the air. And what the police did was, you know, it's like they call it a sound off. The police fired 2 shots in the air as well. So if you over this corner and they over that corner, you know what I mean, just to see where the shots are coming from, you know, they fired 2 sound off shots. He goes again and fires another 1 or 2 shots. By the time he finished doing that, he realized what was happening, that the police was in the dance. You know, he immediately, you know, became nervous and left the party. His mode of transportation at that time was a bicycle. So He left the party. Another brethren that lives in the area, you know, he had given him a ride on the bicycle. So now he's riding back to the house, you know, in a hurry. What the police did was they circled him, they trailed him, and they pulled up on him in the front of our housing scheme, aka our community. They pulled both of them over, they search him, they find a gun. Now in 1990, there was no such thing as a cell phone where people could record certain things. Everything was told by word of mouth. So if somebody got shot, if somebody got killed, it's word of mouth. You know what I mean? There's nobody secretly recording anything, you know? So the police got away with a lot of illegal murders. So anyways, they pull him over this night. They search him. They take him off their bicycle. Search him. They found a 9mm on him. You know, police back in the day, when they find guns on you, you a gunman. You automatically, it's execution on the spot. So the police takes the same gun, shoots his brethren in the face. He drops. They think he's dead. And then my brother is telling me the story after it happens, because my mom is now overseas. He said the police looked at him and said, hey, you know, so you're dead now, right? Takes his own illegal gun and is about to execute him with it. Back in the days, the hairstyle that was popular in 1990 was the kid and play hairstyle. And my brother had a clean, crisp kid and play hairstyle. He said the police put the gun to his head and about to squeeze. And he said he saw himself in a coffin. He saw my mom crying over him. He said he saw his life flash before him. And within those split couple of seconds, he decides he's not gonna die. Once the police is about to squeeze, he slaps the gun. Like he uses his hand and slap the gun. So there's a thing in us called a fight or flight system. You either take flight, you either panic, you either freeze, or you decide you're gonna fight back for your life. I'm assuming in that moment, his inspiration to live was my mother. He slaps the gun goes off, grazes his skull. In the whole moment, he takes off running. Now, we lived in Westchester, Portmore, St. Catherine, Jamaica at the time. So he knows this neighborhood like the back of his hand. You know, because every area, every street in Westchester, you know, as kids, we ran it. You know what I mean? We ran through it. We, you know, you got all the energy and, you know, girls, you would find the prettiest girls wherever they live. So we know the neighborhood, we know the gullies, we know area. So he takes off running, he jumps in the gully. The police is after him, they're firing shots. He dips through a couple of corners and has the wherewithal, after the police is after him, to circle around and pick up his friend that got shot. So it's around, I think, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. When my mom is away, she left in charge a helper that would, you know, prepare our meals. And, you know, at the time I said DeAndre was 3, going on 4, to take care of DeAndre as well. So the helper's in the room. I hear this banging on the door in the early mornings, and I hear this sound, this wailing sound like a dog in the back of the yard. So I ask, who is that? He's like, me, Junior. I open the door, and the sight I saw, I would never forget it. You know, I see my brother coming through with the brethren that got shot, and the brethren can't even scream properly because I don't know if his piece of his tongue is shot off. I don't know if his tongue is grazed, but I know that there's blood coming from his face, like clots of flesh with blood, and he leans over the sink and he's picking out clots of flesh. Pieces of his teeth is falling out, pieces of his jaw, and he can't even cry because he's about to go in shock. And I see my brother, he has this stupid ass smirk on his face, and I'm asking him, he's like, yo, I got shot. I said, but you get shot, you're supposed to be terrified. This fool looked like he got like a badge of honor or a stripe. He showed me the side, the bullet in his side, and he showed me the top of his head where he got grazed. Now this dude is in the bathroom about to pass out. And so the whole commotion now, the gunshots in the front of the housing scheme and everything kind of awakes the neighborhood. The story starts moving, catching legs. And they summon a van to take my brother and my brethren, to the University of the West Indies Hospital. It so happened that God was at work that night, that when they took off, the police immediately went to the nearest hospital to search for these quote-unquote gunmen. The police got there early, so when they went and they searched, and they asked if anybody came in with gunshot wounds, they hadn't arrived as yet. So the police did their search and did the other hospitals and moved on. So by the time the brethren had gotten to the hospital, he was able to get treated and, fixed up a little bit and, taken back to get recovery. So my mom got wind of this story. She panics immediately because we had our visas by then. Yeah, I had gotten my visa in '88, and so that's my first time traveling. '89, we went on vacation to Paterson, New Jersey, to my aunt's home, and in 1990, we're migrating to the U.S. Because, like I said, my mom panics, and she moved us to the U.S. So in 1990, my mom got scared and moved us to America. Crazy. So anyways, my brother is the first to move overseas, because at the time, she couldn't afford to move us all. So my brother left. Then about 2 or 3 weeks later, I left school. Now I'm in America. And I think about another 2 to 3 weeks to a month, DeAndre is moving to America. So now we're in America. Eventually our visas expire, because of panic, like I said. We're thinking that if we come home, the police is gonna find us, you know what I mean? And just sheer panic without possible thinking. So now we're stuck in America. We're essentially overstayed our visa, so now we're illegal. Couple months go by. My mom has a family friend named Miss Margaret. Miss Margaret had started the process of her green card moving towards her citizenship. In 1990, immigration was super sweet. It wasn't as hectic as now, like deportations and all that wasn't as rampant as it would have been in 1996 and the future moving forward. So Miss Margaret enrolled me in high school as my guardian. So I had gotten an opportunity to get my driver's license and my social security number, which allowed me to be enrolled in high school. Started high school. So if I had stayed in Jamaica, I would have graduated in 1992. But by moving to America in 2 years of high school in Jamaica, I ended up repeating a year. So instead of graduating at 18 or 17 going to 18, I graduated at 18, almost 19 years old. So I graduated in 1993. You know, during my high school years in America, it's like a total culture shock. You know, in Jamaica, we had to wear uniforms to school. You know, we had to have a certain color shoes, a certain type of haircut, a certain attire. Moving to America, oh my God. When I tell you, it's a world of, it's like moving to a new world, moving to a new world. At the time in 1990, the girls were conservative in Jamaica. America, the young women are, they're fast forward. It's like miles ahead. In Jamaica, your lyrical content had to be on top. In America, you had a pick of the litter. The girls thought you were cute, they coming to get you. You know, so the focus now shifted from academics to girls and clothes. And I think my second year of high school, I started working. So my first job, I think it was it Winn-Dixie? Yeah, my first job was Winn-Dixie supermarket. Yeah. So now I'm earning my own money. Yeah, I'm earning my own money. And so now I can buy my own clothes. Talk about liberating. That was super duper liberating. Because like I said, you know, in high school it can be brutal, man. Your status depended on your looks and your clothes game. You know, if you were an athlete, I think it's still the same thing now. You know, you can go from being nobody dealing with you because your clothes is jacked up, you know, to now you run track or you play American football or basketball, because soccer wasn't really popular back then. You know, everything was about America. So either you run track, you played American football, or you played basketball. I didn't know crap about American football. I didn't know anything about basketball. I still can't shoot to this day, you know, but I could run track because I ran track in high school. I participated in one of the most popular events in Jamaica. It's called the Boys and Girls Champs. At the time, in 1990, it was either Boys Champs or Girls Champs. You know, so the easiest transition for me was track and field. And I did play some soccer, which I wasn't very good at. So now I'm running track. You know, I'm working. You know, like I said, a handsome young man. As the girls would call me cute back then, you know. They really wouldn't say handsome, they would say cute. So I became one of the popular Jamaican dudes on campus. So at one point I had to pick a girlfriends, man. I leaned up against my locker and I realized I was either dating or messing with or having sex with 7 different women. Young and stupid, man. You're not even thinking about, you know, the negative of what you're doing. You're popular, you using your popularity to your advantage. You know, I would have one of my girlfriends doing my math, one helping me with my Spanish, one helping me with my English homework. So high school was wonderful, man. You know, and I also became delusional. You think that life would totally be like high school. You know, after high school, you find yourself still hanging around high school, trying to retain or soak up whatever a little popularity or fame you had because you didn't want to move on to the real world. So high school became what it was. You know, graduated '93, and worked various jobs. I think I counted at one point. I worked 21 jobs. Like I said, I worked at Winn-Dixie. I worked there twice, so that counts as 2 jobs. I worked at Publix twice, so that's 2 more jobs. I worked at Taco Bell. I worked for UPS. I worked for FedEx, FedEx Ground, and FedEx Express. I worked at a couple of Jamaican restaurants. I worked at this restaurant called Testa's in Palm Beach. I worked at the Breakers. I worked construction. And I think if I dug deeper into my memory bank, I know, you know, like I said, 21 jobs I counted. And then I think at 21 going on 22, I had gotten a job at Discount Auto Parts at the time. It's now AutoZone. So I worked at Discount Auto Parts. By this time, Tasha was pregnant and was about to have Ariana. So Ariana was born while I was working at Discount Auto Parts. So this is '96. So 3 years after high school, Ariana was born. Like I said, I left high school late. 18 going on 19. I would have been 19 that December. I graduated from high school in, I think, May or whatever. So that same year would have been my 19th year. 3 years later, at 22, Ariana is born. And we had just gotten our first apartment. We had moved out from my mom's. And we had gotten our first apartment, myself and Tasha, at Live Oaks apartment in West Palm Beach. You know, and we had no furnitures yet. I think all we had was a bed. And Tasha had gotten a loan a little bit after that. Yeah, so Tasha's credit was better than mine. So we had gotten the apartment under her name. Like I said, I had messed up my credit. I was, you know, young and dumb. So after Ariana was born, a little bit after that, you know, my finances was up and down. My best memories were my brokest memories. My firstborn, my little baby girl, I was fascinated by her. You know, she used to lay on the carpet, try to raise her little head up. I would lay on the carpet and I was, you know, just fascinated by my baby girl, man. It's my first time being a father. I literally videotaped Ariana coming into this world. To this day, she still has the video she could watch. I think her mom made her watch that video for the first time when she was about, what, 16 or 18? I don't remember how old. But, yeah, that's the only child I saw coming into this world. I missed Jahseh by a couple hours. So, I was 22 working at Discount Auto Parts. And a brethren my brother had grew up with, named, we call him Digo. Digo had migrated to the U.S. And I think how we came to the U.S. was farm work. So, you know, Digo and my brother Junior attended Tivoli Gardens Comprehensive High School in the day. So they were tight from Jamaica. So when Digo came to America, you know, the thing for a lot of, you know, us to do if we're not working is sold weed. You know, and Digo had taken off selling weed. I remember one day he came to visit. It was Digo and Gaddafi, another brethren of mine. And they came down to West Palm to visit Junior and, you know, kicking it, they all excited about seeing each other and whatever. And Digo had mentioned that he's selling weed. I was like, yeah. So anyways, Um, I knew some neighborhood guys. You know, a lot of people I knew from high school, you know, had gotten into the marijuana drug trade. So I had a couple links. And I had gotten a pound from Digo. Sold my first pound. My profit was $200. I looked at that, and I looked at how long I had to work at Discount Auto Parts and Pep Boys and all these places just to make $200. I made $200 in less than 10 minutes of sale. That was it. That was it. Marijuana sales was now my job. This is how I'm gonna feed my family. This is how I'm gonna get rich. I'm gonna buy my car. I'm gonna do this. You know, I can afford nice gears. You name it. So, started selling marijuana. And never worked for anyone else again. Yeah, I don't recall even having a job after that. So fast forward, you know, me and Digo's linking up, you know, hustling is going, it's up and down. So it's 1997. And by this time, Junior was deteriorating mentally. He would eventually be diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic or schizophrenic bipolar. You know, at the time we knew nothing about mental health. Mental health was just a negative stigma that as a family you didn't want anyone to know about. So Junior's deteriorating. You know, he's in and out, you know. He'll be doing wild stuff at 1 minute, and then another minute, you know, he'll be okay. So, you know, like an ostrich, we would stick our heads in the sand, not wanting to deal with the issue. So we went to Razor's Palace. So there's this Jamaican boxer who had fought Mike Tyson, I think it was 96, 95, whatever year it was. But this was 1997, and we went to Razor's Palace. So it was me, Digo, Junior, Gaddafi, Digo's brother-in-law at the time, Omar, another kid named Prento, and it was like 6 of us, like 6 or 7 of us. We went to Razor's Palace. And I had the gear at the time, the popular gear at the time, was Tommy Hilfiger. It was Polo and Tommy Hilfiger. Tommy Hilfiger just came on the scene. You know, and you had to have a Tommy Hilfiger sneakers or a hat or a windbreaker or you name it. You had to have some Tommy Hilfiger apparel. So I had bought this Tommy Hilfiger windbreaker where it had a zip at the neck where you could unzip the neck, and you would have like a hoodie that stopped the rain. So, and it doubled as, you know, like a coat as well. So Junior was wearing my Tommy Hilfiger jacket. And it was Cleo, it was Felicia and Teresa, and another young lady, I think her name is Teresa as well. She was in a wheelchair. And they were all at the club. And Junior walks over to Cleo. Like I said, you know, Junior's mental, but he still got his, you know, he still got his talk game. So anyway, he walks over to Cleo, and Cleo was a skinny little thing. And he gave her my windbreaker because she said she was cold. So I'm in the club, and I look, and I seen the exchange, and I walked up, I'm like, what you doing to my windbreaker? And she's like, this your windbreaker? I said, yeah, that's my windbreaker. The craziest thing about it, I remember how I met her, like the conversation. So I remember she was skinny with these big, pretty teeth. I remember this skinny, pretty little girl, right? And I looked at her and I kind of questioned her age. So anyways, conversation struck up. And I don't know where that thought came from, but I said, I'm going to get this girl pregnant. We struck up a conversation, we exchanged numbers, and at the time, everybody had fallen out with Digo. So it was just me and Digo at the time, just, working. I was basically working for him. You know what I mean? And it was Cleo and Tavia. Cleo and Tavia came over. And I found out that they were ditching school later. Later when I found out she wasn't fully 17 yet. Because I was 23 in 97, I would have been 24 that year. Right? Yeah, so she was 16 going on 17. And like I said, she led me to believe that she was older than she was. Then I kind of found out later that she was still in high school. They was ditching high school, and her and Tavia would come over as often as possible. I think I mentioned a piece of what we would do prior. So anyways, it's 1997. And Jahseh is conceived. At the time when I was living in Fort Lauderdale, Ariana was already born. I had separated from Tasha. So now I'm full-time living in Fort Lauderdale, with Digo and messing with Cleo and messing with another young lady named Hope. I would get my green card by marrying her in 97, I didn't file for my green card until 2001. So anyways, Jahseh is conceived. Jahseh would have been born a year before, in 1998. Jahseh would have been born a month before Cleo turns 18, because when Cleo had Jahseh, she was still technically a minor. I had just turned 24 in December. Jahseh was born on January 23rd, and February 15th, Cleo would have been 18. So, this is my first kid. My first boy, not my first kid. My second kid, but my second child, but my first boy. I'm over the moon, man. I'm over the moon at this beautiful little boy. And yeah, so it's 1998 when Jahseh was born. When he was born, I was back living with Tasha. How the hell I'm gonna tell Tasha that I have another kid outside and she knew I wanted a son really bad? How am I gonna tell her I have a son?